general managers out there. This apparently this look at the flag on the play, like that's going to do anything. They're trying to restore order here. That's Shane. You see him in the gray shorts there, right there. The glasses on the left. That's a GM. You see Dayball in there.
We're looking for the first part, but I got the second part. I can cue that up right now. Where are we?
I love it when the quarterback gets into it.
I know the lineman because apparently he was defending his lineman. That's the stuff. That's the training camp stuff. That's the training camp stuff. And Daniel Jones, 11-6 Giants, dude. I know he's trying to high. He's trying to be high on him. Daniel Jones had this to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Situation happens like that. Try to stand up for your guys, but thought it was good competitive practice all day today, and we made some plays and did some good things. There's some things we need to stir up for sure, but good, good intensity and competitive spirit.
His face is smaller than his neck, right? His neck is bigger. I mean,
I like he's rough. He looks great.
He looks like an incredible.
He doesn't look like he's selling insurance like he used to look like.
Come on, Daniel Jones. Let's go, Daniel Jones. Let's
Come
go.
on. Earn that money you don't deserve.
I just want to see like salty Daniel Jones, right?
Oh. Daniel Jones.
I want to see salty DJ. Let's go, man. Brian Burns had this to say.
Oh Lord! Daniel got jiggy with it. Daniel was out there with it. Yeah. I'm gonna need him to back up. I'm gonna need him to back up. Let his O-line handle that. But Daniel, he's a competitor, man. He's a fighter, so I don't expect nothing less from him. But I don't need him in there. I don't need him to get hit.
That's the Giants going. Brian Burns is going. By the way, Brian Burns is going to be introduced to the American NFL fan. With all due respect to Carolina, he's now in New York, and if he starts falling out in New York the way that he does in Carolina, it's hard to think that he won't. It's coming. It's coming, and that's what you need. Daniel Jones, get in there. Start getting playing in people's faces. It's not his game. I understand it. That's what I want against the Vikings to start. If that's what you're looking for,
I got that thing done, but it's like in 2
Nice.
minutes. Yeah, okay.
Dallas week 4.
Well, it's combined into one. It's probably about 3 minutes. Okay. But the first thing we was talking about the Raiders,
3 points at home, and they're already ahead of the last time they played the Giants. The Cowboys at home on national television. That was not good.
Oh no, it's actually 19. I didn't put that at all.
Giants being better is better for everybody.
Yes.
End of story. End of story. Daniel Jones, spicy Daniel Jones. Let's go. I'll see Daniel Jones on Hot Ones. That's the start of it. That's the start of it. Let him go from there.
Oh, yes. What do you say, YouTubers? What's happening? How we sounding? How we doing? Good to be back in Vegas, back in Costa Mesa tomorrow. Yep, back in Costa Mesa tomorrow. And then off to Minnesota, where I'll be calling the Vikings game play-by-play on the radio, which I'm excited about. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Good to see everybody.
For the ones who keep stadiums buzzing and shop floors running, there's Grainger. Keep your operations humming with professional-grade maintenance, safety, and industrial products from Grainger.
We got a new partner today, Tito's. Tito's handmade vodka. That's a big one. It's a big one. I'm excited about that one. Stock market crash in progress. Let's see, we're down 1,000 points today. Wow. Got a video up on X.
It's your choice. Keep listening to Raider Nation Radio for the keyword of the day, and be ready to text 702-365-9200 to qualify for the trip, because summers are meant to be fun. It'll be sleepless in Seattle with 2 games from the Pacific Northwest as the Mets take on the Mariners Saturday at 6 and Sunday at 4 on ESPN Las Vegas, 1100 AM and 100.9 FM. Brought to you by Finley Chevrolet, home of the
This is JT for Grimaldi's Pizzeria, that famous New York style coal-fired brick oven pizza that you crave. 4 locations in the Valley, Boca Park in Summerlin, on the Strip at the Palazzo, Southwest Las Vegas on South Rainbow, and in Green Valley on Southeastern Avenue.
Nobody has you covered like Dollar Loan Center with signature loans up to $5,000 in minutes. We have over 50 locations, and if you're a new customer, your first loan is on us. We're offering new customers the chance to experience the DLC like never before for free. You heard it right. No fees at all and free interest for a week. Borrow up to $5,000 and keep it for a week. Then all you owe us back is the principal. Stop by one of our over 50.
All right, what else are we doing? Felipe, vodka means little water in Russian. Did not know that. Little water. Lauby, Zeus, Adams, Bauer, oh boy. Modelo. Bosa got hurt, his left hand of the Chargers. Heard about that. I don't celebrate injuries to any team because we don't want to have bad karma and we don't want injuries, right? So Herbert's in a boot. Herbert will be in a boot for, a couple weeks now, which the only thing interesting with that is that Herbert being in a boot means he won't get any reps with the ones.
Google Battleborn Injury Lawyers and see what our clients say about us. Or call 766-1400 for a free consultation. At Battleborn, your battle is our fight.
Terrible's Gaming is giving away a $10,000 vacation every week now through September 30th. Play at your local Terrible's, Terrible's Market, Albertsons, or Farms for your chance to win a 7-day Alaskan cruise, wine tasting in Napa Valley, a 4-night stay on Waikiki Beach, and so much more. Oh yeah, we're also giving away $10,000 a week for free play. Wait for your chance to win at Terrible's Market. It's Albertsons. Near you. Visit TerriblesGaming.com for details. Must be 21 years or older with a valid Terribles Gaming Player's Card.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Because nobody lets you feel it's like getting romance and sci-fi.
So we have the second greatest Raider game. This is why you got to have on YouTube. Second greatest Raider game of all time. The first Super Bowl, Super Bowl 11. So those who are playing along might know what we have ranked as the number 1 game of all time.
I can't wait to go home.
At T-Mobile, you don't have to choose. You can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how much you can save with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, when you switch, you can keep your phone and we'll pay it off up to $800. Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com. Your afternoon Raiders fix with your boy Q on Unnecessary Roughness from 2 to 5 on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM Las Vegas.
You're listening to the JT the Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's time for JT the Brick.
You want a conspiracy theory? I'll give you one. There's no way you can sit in the boardroom on Park Avenue where NFL headquarters are and say the Raiders are going to open up with 2 on the road against the Harbaugh brothers. What are the odds of that? You're giving us the Atlanta game on Monday Night Football at the end of December. Thanks. Really appreciate that. Now, what you want to thank you, Roger? You just scoffed and mocked us. Like, you're nothing. We're nothing.
JT the Brick.
I'm defending the Raiders. You should be defending the Raiders. Very simple. Make the Raider Nation stand up, sound off like you got a pair. It's your time now to be heard. You got a flagship station that isn't compromised up north with a baseball team going out of business and another San Francisco football team and hosts that are in the pocket. You got me at the front gates of the Raider Nation trying to help you have a voice on this. So let's roll.
And now,
Raider Nation unite.
Here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, Monday. Great to be here in studio in Vegas. Heading back to Costa Mesa tomorrow for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, off to Minneapolis. Where I'll be on the play-by-play for the radio for the Raiders' first preseason game at the Minnesota Vikings. Love me some Minnesota in August. Don't ask me to go to Minnesota. We went to the Super Bowl there, covered the Super Bowl there a few years ago. and could barely, that was the coldest cigar I ever had in -4 degrees. So summertime, hey, Wisconsin, my wife's from Illinois, my wife's in Illini, Minnesota, everybody in that region, I like you in the summertime, like Seattle. You won't catch me there in the wintertime. Once it starts raining and snowing and you need gloves and coats, no way. You think I'm going to leave Vegas? You're out of your mind. So we don't mind Minnesota early in the year. You remember we lost to Minnesota 3-0? We lost 3-0 to Minnesota. You think the Raider Nation would have got a little more respect from the national media if we didn't lose to Minnesota? 3-0 at home, which really was the game that ended any thoughts of the playoffs. And maybe that's why some of these national media buffoons are talking about us real low, 4 or 5 wins. We even have some sound from a guy saying worst team in football. Worst team in football. I woke up today with the Wagners on News 3 LV, Dana and Kim Wagner, friends of the show, personal friends in my life. They had me on at 6:30 in the morning. Now, here's what's significant about that. I was up at 5:30 this morning because the stock market was crashing at 6:30. And I knew that last night. I put out a tweet because the Japanese market had paused. It was chaos in the Japanese market. I looked at the futures. You could look at what the market could trade at early the next day, and I knew it would be a crash. And as I open up my microphone and welcome in my YouTubers, YouTube, JT the Brick YT, as we're getting to a milestone. Hey, to get 100,000 people or 50, you got to get to 4 or 5 first, and we started this, and we're getting there. Please, please, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we appreciate that, JT the Brick YT. So let me give you a stock market update. The stock market is down 1,047 points. How about that? So as I always said this, I'm a former stockbroker, worked for Smith Barney, Merrill Lynch. My whole career started off the movie Wolf of Wall Street. If you ever watch the movie, there's a couple of movies to watch out there about the stock market in the 80s. Okay, if you're going to end up doing that, there's Wall Street, remember Gordon Gekko and all of that. But when you look at the history of the stock market, I started out of college, I was a stockbroker. And it was an interesting start of my life and my career because it was 100% commission, 100% commission. And in year 1, I made 6 figures and I got a Porsche. So it was like the movie. Okay, it was like the movies back then. There was a lot of fun, wink, wink. There was a lot of late night, but I was always at my desk. And back east, the stock market opens at 9 in the morning. So you can go out and have a lot of cervezas and have a good time and get in your seat by 8 a.m., 8:30, and you're not late. When I moved out west, that wasn't good. Stock market opened at 6:30 in the morning. So I was up today at 5:30 in the morning. I'm not a day trader. I'm invested in the market, and I like being in the market. Long term, I'm a buy and hold guy. I rarely sell anything. And, if something's up big, I'll sell it. If something's down and it's just a bad pick, I'll get out of it. But no matter what happens in the market, I don't panic. I put out a video this morning, and we could see that happening. Market crashed today. This is not a pullback. This is a crash. It really hit hard. It doesn't happen like this. There's always a pullback here or there. So I watched that roller coaster ride. So anyway, I'm supposed to be on News 3, Vegas, with Kim and Dana, exactly 6:30. I go, ooh, I don't know if I want to be on at 6:30. They got to me at 6:35, which was fine. And we did about 5-6 minutes on the Raiders. And at the end, Dana Wagner said, because he's friends with Colin Cowherd, he said, Colin Cowherd said, we're the worst team in football. I didn't comment. I don't comment on people that make a lot of mistakes all the time and don't care because that's part of the brand. Look, I really take this job seriously. I really do. And I don't like to make mistakes. I don't say like, you know. I take pride in that. I don't want to make a lot of mistakes, so I don't predict a lot of games. That's not my thing. But if I make a mistake, one mistake, I beat myself up with it. I do. And I try to really pull this show together every day. Now, if I had a show where I wanted more clicks, and maybe I could go back in the hot tub time machine and start this all over again. I would have been a list guy. I would have been a clickbait guy. I would have mixed in more politics and clickbait, and I would have been maybe bigger. I'd have a couple 100,000 Twitter followers or 1 million, maybe all this, but I would have been fired. I couldn't have kept this job for 27 years with the Raiders being a political clickbait guy. And I couldn't have kept jobs at networks as long as I did if I was as wrong as consistently as some of the other people are wrong. So what I've been trying to do this summer is taper down my opinion that we don't get any credit. It's us against the world. I do a lot of that. And I don't like to do a lot of it because it could come back to haunt me. You don't hear me here in the preseason saying the Raiders are going to win 10 or 11 games. You haven't heard it once. I think they can win 10 games and be a wild card team. I'm not going to pick them over Kansas City. They're going for a three-peat. Take me out of here. The Twitter police would surround this building and arrest me on X if I said the Raiders are going to the Super Bowl. You don't hear any of that with me. I picked the Raiders to go to the Super Bowl once in my entire career. That was after the Jack Del Rio 12-4 year. I thought I was a member of the McGloin train after Carr busted open his ankle and we didn't have him. Next year I said, well, Jack's really good, 12-4. Maybe we can do it again. Look at the record that year. Didn't work out. So I try to avoid that. But I don't like when people talk down about the Raiders. I don't like when people make fun of Raiders because Raider fans kick ass. Like literally. Not all of them. Not many of them are violent people. That's another misnomer. Oh, I'm scared to go to a Raider game. You can eat off the floors at Allegiant Stadium. There's a cop every 13 feet. Said that in Oakland too. You see some of these Niner games? Bang, bang, Niner fan. You see some of these games where there's fights everywhere? Go show me a bunch of fights at Allegiant Stadium. I'm sure you can catch a few in a time machine there. I'm not saying that every game of every team is clean, but the Raider fans have been kicked up and down. But you notice no one ever walks. These guys who say the Raiders are the worst team in football, you notice, A, they don't go to games, number one. They don't go. Number two, they won't go to a Raider game. Number three, you ever see them in a parking lot at a tailgate having a shot at tequila and a beer? No, you never see those guys there. They hide behind teleprompters or security guards, and they just avoid it. But what they do is they mock this fan base. Where they have doctors and lawyers and humanitarians and some of the best people, Fortune 500 CEOs, legendary musicians, actors, Guy Fieri, all these great guys, but they won't say it to their face. They'll say it in a cool studio off a teleprompter. So I'm a little worked up today because I was just out there. I spent a lot of time there at training camp, did a bunch of shows there, met with coaches privately, met with players privately, got a feel of what's going on there. Not all of it's for radio. Not all of it I'm going to give here. I'm trying to put together my board for Minnesota and the Raiders and memorize numbers. My goal by Friday, Saturday is to memorize guys who are not going to make the team. Memorize their numbers so when they catch a 6-yard slant, it doesn't take me a minute to tell you who it is. If it takes, 4 seconds, no one's going to care. Right? I'm going to have to tell stories with Lincoln Kennedy, Eric Allen. We had a lot of fun last year. So I'm going to do that again. So that's what I'm focusing on here. But now the focus has changed officially to the quarterback. Here we go. That term, unleash the hounds, unleash blank, whatever you want. It's go time. Not so much that in the monologue, brought to you by PTs, they fuel the monologue. 5 to 7, midnight to 2, the best happy hour in town. Go watch all your training camp coverage and build your fantasy team at one of the close to 70 PTs here in the Valley. Sierra Gold, Sean Patrick's, all the places that I go to, they're a proud partner here. They start off every show. They get the leadoff spot every show because we love Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat, by the way. You ever see that monster with the ride on top and the ride's the Strat, top of the world? It's all the same company, man. It's one of the great success stories that we've seen here in Vegas history. So when it comes to the quarterback, as much as the quarterback play that I've seen, the last 20 minutes of practice, I'm in front of my screen. We're getting ready to do the show. That's when they go live, a little bit maybe at the end. Do I see every pass where it lands on the far sideline? No. But I know enough. And I got access to the coaches. I can just sit down with a coach and say, hey, what's going on or not? So when it comes to the quarterback, I thought Vinny Bonsignor summed it up best in his latest column. There hasn't been any wow plays in camp. A lot of wow plays. Plays that are popping. A 60-yard bomb on a dime, Trey Tucker leaving his feet, catching it. Not a lot of that. Okay, but I like the check down. All of a sudden now I'm Mr. Check Down. I'm the guy who hated the check down. So I'm proving I can evolve. You give the ball every time to Brock Bowers and Devontae, and I'll be the happiest guy alive. But Zeus has got to take it at least 22 to 23 times. But we got Michael Mayer on tomorrow. How about that? Wait till I dive into Michael Mayer tomorrow at camp on these new crossing routes that I see. Big Mike crossing, Brock Bowers crossing over, Devontae to the corner. But can the quarterback get him the ball? Can the quarterback not get him the ball because we're missing Colt Miller and Jackson Powers Johnson, two of the starting projected 5, and I think they're both coming back. All indications are they'll be ready to go. You know, they're not coming off meniscus tears and Achilles tears. They should be ready to go. But how are you going to run a practice? How are you going to have these quarterbacks thrive when you don't have a nice pocket, let alone you got to go up against Mad Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Malcolm Kuntz, Adam Butler, who's having a great camp, Tyree Wilson, who's a freak. You can just put his hands up and touch the sky. How are you going to have a good offensive practice? So now everyone's nitpicking. Aiden threw a first good pass, but the second pass was interception. Gardner's better outside the pocket. My head's going to burst. Right now, you can talk about that with me. I am not going there from my seat. I'm not going to go early on a quarterback controversy because it's not a controversy yet. There we go. I said it. This is a quarterback competition, really one of only 2 in the league. I mean, Denver's got a quarterback competition because their quarterbacks aren't very good. They drafted Bo Nix, right? They don't have a lot at that position. Zach Wilson, if you look at what they have, and then you look around most of the league, we're going to Minnesota. Sam Darnold's going to start the season, no debate. J.J. McCarthy could play early, middle apart. But the Raiders have a really good, juicy quarterback competition. It could go into the controversy range coming up here shortly. Not from me, but from the national media who doesn't want to even, they don't even know how to pronounce Isaiah Palomalu. They can't even say that. If you say Malcolm Kuntz, they go, who? You never heard of Malcolm Kuntz? Yes, these guys don't even know who Malcolm Kuntz is. So how are they going to evaluate the Raiders if they don't know Malcolm Kuntz could have a 10 to 12 sack season? They don't even know his name. So when they say the Raiders could be the worst team in football, oh, the Raiders don't have a quarterback. Oh, the Raiders aren't going to score. And it goes over and over and over again. Then they run out of material. And then it goes back to clickbait. Let's get the Raider Nation going. Let's get them going. You know, Skip Bayless is gone, right? A couple other radio shows. And then there are radio shows in Southern California that are in the pocket of the Chargers no matter who the general manager is. That's a good one. See, I'm looking into the camera on YouTube. Clip that one. Okay. Now, no matter who gets it or not, there are a couple of broadcasters in Southern California who are in the pocket of the Chargers, which means they get stuffed animals, donuts, everything. They want a dinner or two at a secret location. This is fact. This isn't fiction. You know what I'm talking about. And they do it at the expense of Raider fans and the Raider Nation. They just mock the Raiders. We got the greatest stadium in sports now, Allegiant Stadium. Oh, my God. We got a nightclub in the end zone. I mean, we got a torch and we got a backdrop that looks at the strip. I mean, it's incredible what we have, but we got to win. If we don't win, I can't talk about the torch as much in the Wynn nightclub and this and that. I got to take calls from fans saying, well, you had 58% Steeler fans. You hear all those terrible touts? Yeah, I did. I'm a season ticket holder. Oh, we had the Cleveland Browns in town for the first time, the dog pound. You see that crowd? Yeah, I did. Everyone in Cleveland wants to get the hell out of Cleveland. They want to come to Vegas and see their football team. And we got fans that'll sell their tickets for a huge price, and I'm not the ticket police. Never have been, never will be. I'm not the airport police. I'm not the ticket police. So I'm worked up now. I'm worked up. And I came back. My wife and I had a great week out there. We walked to dinner. We walked to dinner in Costa Mesa. When we left Costa Mesa on Saturday, everyone's saying, did I fly or not? They're like, you know, I could go play with my golf clubs and drive the best golf courses in the world that people can't even get on. And people are mocking me. Did you drive back? No, I flew back. I had my golf clubs last time. It kind of locked me down to be on the road. But I had a great time. My wife had a beautiful time. And we met friends. We were on the water. And then on Saturday, our flight was at 1:30. And we decided we met a buddy for breakfast down in Dana Point. And then we drove up the Pacific Coast Highway through Laguna Niguel, Laguna Beach, up through Newport. It was, you know, we lived in LA together for 10 years. One of our sons was born there, but this is South Orange County on the water. Oh my God, man. We had the windows open. the coastline on our left, driving north on the PCH going, this is incredible. Now, there's a lot of reasons I don't want to be in California or live in California. I think you know that. But, man, we caught some good weather there. And then I'm going to fly back tomorrow solo and go back there and cover a couple more practices to see how the team looks. So, phones are quiet all summer because I'm not the ticket giveaway guy. I'm not the koozie guy. JT's not the koozie guy. But the callers who call this show have a really deep impact because they're the longest standing callers in the history of the Raiders, period. That's not open for debate. Some are better than others. But this whole thing, it's us against the world. I got to hold back now. If you watch Game of Thrones, I really like war movies. I watch a lot of World War II movies. My favorite movie of all time, JT Trivia, favorite movie of all time, number one, ahead of Raging Bull at number two, and both Godfather 1 and 2. Favorite movie of all time, Platoon. Brilliant. Impact on my life. People were walking out the theater. Movie, crying in the middle of the movie, walking out. It's always been my number one. Saving Private Ryan is in my top 10. My podcast partner, Looney's like, you didn't serve your country. Why are you so into these war movies? War movies are usually pretty good. Dirty Dozen, Bobby knows that. We can go back in the day, Jim Brown in the Dirty Dozen, right? In all these war movies, there's a scene where they say, hold, don't shoot, hold, right? They're coming, hold. Braveheart, Mel Gibson, Gladiator, hold. They're coming towards us. You see the movie Napoleon. Didn't do well at the box office, but a beautiful scene in Napoleon when they're in the middle of a war scene and the opponent's on the ice and they're trying to hit the cannonballs onto the ice to blow up the ice so they sink. The enemy, hold, don't fire yet. Well, we're not talking about guns and violence and anything. I'm talking about movies in case a website wants to clip this. But right now, the Raider Nation, I'm telling you right now, hold. We're going into LA. Okay? I've talked to black hole chapters from Sacramento to Los Angeles to the Inland Empire. I tell them all, hold. Get to LA. Justin Herbert's in a boot. We do not encourage injuries. Joey Bosa, little bit of an injury. We do not encourage injuries on this show. We don't want Max to get hurt, Devontae to get hurt. But Justin Herbert will not practice for weeks with a boot on. They can't jeopardize him with the foot injury that he has. Plantar fasciitis. They cannot further injure him. So he won't get any reps, other than in the film room. He will get no reps. And they don't have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler. But they do have Khalil Mack. And they do have some other, Derwin James, are good players. So we don't want Justin Herbert to miss the first game. I don't. Maybe you do. But I'm responsible for what I say. And I want to see everybody at 100%. I want to beat everybody. We're at 100%. They're at 100%. But as I'm saying now, yes, Doug, on YouTube, Full Metal Jacket, fantastic movie. Hold. So for the Raider Nation, what I'm going to do on this show, after I play a couple of sound bites later, is I'm going to hold. I'm going to wait till the week of LA. We're going to have an award-winning interview with the head coach that week, and it's going to get going. And got to win that first game. So for everybody who's wondering now about the quarterback, I agree with most of the insiders. I think Gardner Minshew has a little bit of an edge, a little bit. Again, Luke Getsy would know better. He's in charge of all that. So it's say Gardner Minshew because of the scrimmage on Saturday night was a little bit better, which all accounts were he is. That doesn't mean he's going to start week one. But if he's better the rest of camp and he's better in the preseason, he will start week one. Because Antonio Pierce needs to win that game and wants to win that game in LA. So my point is you have the right, because it's your show. I just run it. You can talk about this quarterback situation. I'm not going to make it a controversy yet. If it's a controversy, we'll all know about it here pretty quickly. Probably after, we got Dallas in the Niner game, and there'll be more about, oh my God, Raider fans are freaking out because there hasn't been a lot of really good play from the quarterback. There hasn't been. It hasn't been a great camp. But then again, I went through 9 years of Derek Carr where every pass was perfect. Everybody wanted every pass to be perfect for a Derek Carr camp, which is fine. And I've been there, done that too. I don't need to see perfect in camp. from the quarterbacks. I'm good without that. So the quarterback topic is open for business. You can participate any way you want. If you want to make it a popularity contest, I won't. If you want to micromanage every throw, I won't. But if you got an opinion on who gives us a better chance to win, the season ticket holders of the Raiders, I'm all for that. I care about your opinion, as I've often said. For those who say, oh, that JT's arrogant, you hear himself talk about himself. No, I think a lot of you guys are smarter than me. You've been around longer than me. You're more diehard than me. And I give you an open forum here to talk about it. 702-365-9200. When life speeds up, Cane's has you covered. This school year, choose Raising Cane's as your after-school destination with hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crinkle-cut fries, fresh coleslaw, buttery Texas toast, and that craveable cane sauce. You can order online at raisingcanes.com or through their mobile app, One Love. You know, my kids started off in middle school, then high school, now college, and Cane's is their go-to spot. So that's why Cane's is a proud partner of this show. They know that everything I do with my proud partners is authentic and real. And that leads me to this announcement. Today, we welcome Tito's Handmade Vodka to my show. Wow, what a story this is. Thanks to Shane and the entire team at Tito's Handmade Vodka. What a company. Literally one of the best American success stories I've ever heard. And Tito, yes, the man Tito, who started off with one facility, one distillery, now has one of the most accepted brands and the number one spirit brand in this space in America. And we have come together to have this great partnership. I'm really proud of this one. Thousands of Raider fans have seen me. Maybe a few hundred have bought me a Tito's over the years, and I love it. Another authentic partnership that begins today, Tito's Handmade Vodka. So we're ready to open up the show. We're ready to get going. I'm happy to get back to Costa Mesa tomorrow. You know how much I love Vegas. I don't want Mayor Goodman's job. I love Vegas, man, but, man, that weather in Costa Mesa, oh. I mean, when I talk about perfect the entire time, I'm saying close to perfect pretty much all the time. It's great to be out there in the summer. Let's get out to Houston in Los Angeles, a big population of Raider Nation. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, JT, baby? Hopefully everybody's doing well. You and my Boston guy, I'm sorry with the name. I'm getting old, man. I forget people's names now. But, like, hey, you from New York, JT, man. You guys are naturally arrogant, brother. I mean, it's to be expected. You feel me? It's like, if you wasn't arrogant, I'd be worried.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right, but yeah, hey, to be honest, and I'm pulling for the best quarterback possible. I like them both. You know, I'll be honest with you. I like them both. They both have their own style, and I'm going to just kick back and let the professionals do their job, evaluate these guys, come up with the best analyzation, and when it's all said and done, we have to support our guy, man. It's just that simple. Like, you know, people like to battle back and forth, and I get it, trust me. But when it comes down to the nation, man, we gotta. Man, I've been part of Raider Nation since 1981. So it's like I've seen a good time early, real quick, and then it kind of faded out. 2002 was cool, and then it faded out again. But guess what? It don't matter. We still gotta stick together. And one last thing, because I know I'm rambling. I just want to say that when these quarterbacks, when they both go at it, that's just gonna make them sharper, man. All they and especially against the defense that we got.
Well, they haven't, but Houston, they haven't been super sharp. Neither one of them has really distinguished themselves, and I appreciate your call. Thank you. Appreciate you in LA, as always. Neither one of them have really stepped up big. But how do you step up big? Devontae's wife's having a baby. He's gone. Take your time, Devontae. Take your time. Take your time, all right? Devontae's gone. You don't have max protection, which is max offensive line protection from Max Crosby. How do you expect this to be great? Did anybody expect the quarterbacks to come out and start slinging it all over the joint and be great? I didn't. But I expected him to be a little bit better. I did. Expected him to be a little bit better from what I've seen. Now there are insiders and people that cover the team that think the sky is falling and the quarterbacks are not good at all. I'm not one of those guys. I tell this to everybody. The Raiders have two good quarterbacks. They're not elite. They're not great. Gardner Minshew has the same number as Trevor Lawrence. He gets what? $250 million, a quarter of a B, $225 million. Gardner Minshew gets what? 15? I mean, Gardner Minshew's won games in this league and big games. He can win. And maybe he's the right guy to start the season because of his experience and the severity of playing 2 road games. But maybe Aiden deserves that because he helped the coach get his job by winning games down the stretch, and he's ready to go. We'll find out here in a couple of weeks. But I appreciate everybody chiming in. All right. It's a good monologue, man. Now, why do I say that? I don't know. There's no, I'm not getting a call from my boss saying great monologue. Well, Bobby's giving me a big way to go. We started off. That's 27 minutes of radio without a co-host, without 2 co-hosts, without 3, 4, 5, or 6. You got some shows now that have 6 people talking at the same time. Like it or not, you got me, and I never slow down.
You can stay in touch with your favorite stations and shows no matter your location.
Raider Nation, what's your name?
Free LV Sports Network app for both iPhone and Android. Go to the App Store or
What's your name?
Play and search LV Sports Network. Download and you are good to go.
Dude, there. Okay, that's a little better. I got one ahead of you. Hold on, okay?
Fox Sports Las Vegas, 12:30 the game. It's all part of the LV Sports
Raider
Network.
Nation, what's your name?
All be streamed live on the LV Sports Network app.
Is that so?
Download it today.
Okay, 2 ahead of you. Hold on.
PT's Taverns is gearing up for football season this August. Book your fantasy football draft party and enjoy 10% off all food and drink purchases,
Yep.
plus free Wi-Fi, draft kit, and more. PT's is your home for Vegas' best happy hour with 50% off drinks and $6 personal pizzas, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. daily.
What's going on, Bobby?
Taverns, there is always a location.
Any live music over the weekend? Anything?
Book your
Yep.
fantasy draft party.
A lot of shit, a lot of doing chores and stuff.
This is JT for Grimaldi's New York style cold fire brick oven pizza, 4 locations in the Valley, Summerlin and Oka Park, on the Strip at the Palazzo, Southwest Las Vegas on Rainbow, and in Green Valley on Eastern Avenue. Grimaldi's, the best pizza I've
Hey,
ever
Jared,
had.
you're going to lead off. I guess I'll give you about 3 minutes, okay?
But she hates to paint, so she called Rhino Shield.
I remember seeing some cracks in the stucco and the paint faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get the house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino
Thank you.
placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow, with the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
Rhino Shield ceramic technology.
Plus a
is
couple Sox
formulated
games,
for
too.
our climate
Did ya?
right here in
Yeah,
Las
well-
So
Vegas.
the Rhino Shield 2 came out, nothing
Took
was
2 out of 3
damaged in
against
the
Texas.
process.
That's always
I was
good.
very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Rhino Shield is
All
backed
right.
by a
We got a
25-year
few calls.
transferable.
All right, I gotta
Back now, you'll
got a few calls. All right, what do we got here with this Aiden O'Connell? Minshew's getting paid and has experience from Adam. Nazo. You just called Minshew a better quarterback who's been a backup in his league. You can't judge Aiden on 10 games. You can judge anybody any way we want. We're judging people. We're in sports. We judge people. Looney Tunes, I want AOC to step up, but if he doesn't, Minshew will be my guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing Minshew does better than AOC is scramble. But when it comes to the deep ball accuracy and better arm talent, AOC is better. Yeah, I'd agree. You know, if he has a clean pocket, Aiden O'Connell is one of the best young quarterbacks. Notice I didn't say best quarterbacks, best young quarterbacks. If Aiden O'Connell was coming out of the draft this year, you take him in the first round, I would. But he didn't get taken. He is a 4th-round pick who played a lot. Just remember, the good thing about Aiden is he played a lot last year.
Dude, you should check out Truck U CDL Trading. My brother got his CDL license in 4 weeks, and now he has a new career making great money. Okay.
Oh, I got to do Mad Dog tonight from 4 to 7. Got to pack. Got to get on the road to Costa Mesa, which is only 5 minutes. 5 minutes from the team hotel, literally, which is kind of cool.
Offering 24-hour smog test, oil changes, detailing, bodywork, engine and transmission rebuilding. And ZipZap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary. 24-hour service. Zip Zap Auto at Cheyenne and North Durango Drive and online at zipzapauto.com. Tom got a new ride. Hey, Tom. Sweet ride. Thanks, Jim.
Hey, Tom, sweet ride.
That's nice. Thanks, Marcy. Did Tom get a raise? Did he win the lottery? Nah. I just got a
I'll tell you, I love the Olympics, man. I love some of this Olympics, Bobby. Some of it's been damn good. You got Scotty Scheffler and Djokovic winning, man. We got all this peer sound.
Yeah.
Doing our second greatest game. Our second greatest game of all time is Super Bowl 11.
Welcome back to
Tears
the
coming back.
JT the Brick Show.
This ain't one of the ones you wanted.
Yep.
The best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
Well, the players are really carrying that over themselves, right? We got the ultimate Energizer Bunny and Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins. And then you look at, Diablo, Jack Jones on defense. And then, like I said, on offense, Jacoby Myers is kind of that guy for us. So you love to see Trey Tucker really make that spark as well. But it's really in our DNA now. So I don't talk about it. They go out there, you'll see when they start practice, they'll be excited and want to go. Like, these guys love being on the field and playing with one another and growing and building this team.
Antonio Beers, we have more sound coming up from his press conference. And I didn't forget, but today is our number 2 greatest Raider game of all time. Number 2. And we'll tell you about that. There's only 2 left. One will be today, and then we'll wrap it up from camp. Wow, how did we pull that off? How did we wrap this up perfectly as the Raiders are breaking camp? I think we had 11 or 12 honorable mentions. Yeah. 11 or 12. And then we had 10 games. We had 2 at number 10. So you do the math. Spent a lot of time here this summer, and I enjoyed it. Last summer was the greatest team of all time. This is not Raiders. The Raiders don't put this out. I do with the show. They assist with some sound bites and help me along the way. And then Bobby did all the heavy lifting. So we'll get to another number 2 game coming up. I love the Olympics. Scotty Scheffler winning golf. As I watched that live, and he hunted down John Rahm, and John Rahm shot 39 on the back. Scotty shot 29 on the back. So he was 6 strokes back, and he won, and John Rahm didn't get a medal. And here's an interesting thing too, Bobby. Pau Gasol, they take the Olympics. At the Olympics, they take former Olympians to show up at the medal stand. So you could just see, a former Olympian be there in cycling for the cycling gold medal,
right?
Or in a different sport. So for golf, they had Pau Gasol, the Laker from Spain.
From golf?
So I think this is my conspiracy theory. They had Pau Gasol from Spain, won a gold medal, Spain basketball years ago.
Yeah.
John Rahm's from Spain. And I think they had it, John Rahm, Pau, big Spaniard moment, and John Rahm didn't even medal. He went from first to a collapse to 4th, didn't get on the medal stand, and Scotty Scheffler won, broke down in tears, and Novak Djokovic won the gold over Carlos Alcaraz, 7-6, 7-6. He broke down and was crying with his kids in the stands. Oh, my God. Over the weekend, Djokovic and Scheffler won gold medals. I think the Olympics have been fantastic. I don't know how LA is going to match Paris or not. I mean, I'm just in LA in Southern California. I don't know how you're going to get around. Don't tell me mass transportation. Do not tell me about rail service or bus service. Stop. It's not going to be Paris. They're going to have to do everything AI. They're going to have to do everything like it's a movie set. But Katie Ledecky in swimming, Simone Biles, she got a silver today instead of a gold. But look, she's done great. The men and women swimming has been fantastic. Women's basketball, it seems like the Las Vegas Aces, Mark Davis's team, they just should have sent the Aces over there and Caitlin Clark because the Aces are unbelievable. I've really been enjoying the Olympics. The way I watch it is I watch it live during the day when I can, and then I watch the Gold Zone and the primetime on NBC. I've really enjoyed it. If you're politically triggered and you don't watch it because of politics, just move with a bunch of those political knuckleheads. Move to somewhere north of Michigan and just build a log cabin and stay there the rest of your life. I can't believe how many people. I don't watch the Olympics. Oh, shut up. It's the Olympics. You're a dope if you don't watch the Olympics. You really are. Watch the Olympics and enjoy it. And I'm watching the United States and Brazil and men's volleyball. The athletes here are incredible. Let's get out to Jared, the chauffeur. who joins us in Vegas on 920. Hello, Jared. What's happening?
Oh, yes, sir. Well, what you have here in me is the eternal optimist and definitely a believer. I come up with 11 or 12 wins for us this year. I come to that conclusion. Our defense has to be with that guy from Miami 30% better. We're going to get more takeaway points. And I believe if we average, and then I'll take your answer off the air. I believe we averaged 24 points and our defense beat Kansas City last year. We come up with 11 or 12 wins and we're going to the playoffs. Thank you, JT. What do you think?
Yeah, appreciate the call. Thank you. The problem is it's tough to say after what I've seen, this team's going to average 24 points a game. They don't look like they can from what I've seen, but that could all change. If they're turning the ball over on defense and shortening the field, and the Raiders have sustained drives because of Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer and Zamir White and could attack the end zone, yeah, they could do that. But as of now, if you've been out at training camp, you're not walking around the place saying this team's going to put up 24 a game. You're not. And hopefully, who cares? It's training camp. But this offense needs a wake-up call quickly if they're going to have an impact to put up that many points a game. I love the short passing game, but other teams are going to scheme against it. They're going to load the box against Zamir White and Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. They're going to load the box, and Devontae on one side, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. They're going to be in single coverage. Everybody other than Devontae is going to be in single coverage. You better find a quarterback who can get them the ball in single coverage. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm standing up in the studio. You better find a quarterback who can get these guys the ball who are single covered. Because Devontae wants it and he's double teamed. He's doubled on every play. Don't need a fullback. Don't have one good. But you better find a quarterback who can look at Devontae being doubled and get him the ball still and look and change the play at the line of scrimmage, change the play, and get the ball out quickly to Brock Bowers. You do that, then you can run the ball with Zamir. Then you got to keep those guys loaded up in the box and you go over the top. Luke Getsy, I'll give Luke Getsy a lot of credit. He's putting together this game plan with Devontae back here in Vegas having a baby and two quarterbacks who have not distinguished themselves yet. This is not easy for Luke Getsy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a football lifer. He's drawn up the plays, and these are the plays they're going to run. And I would assume a lot of it's going to be short yardage, over the middle, high percentage stuff, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that until one of these quarterbacks emerges a great quarterback. We need a great quarterback around here. It's either going to be Aiden O'Connell, becoming great because he's so young and he's got upside. Fine with that. It's going to be Gardner Minshew having a Gannon type legacy where he just finds a team like this and he becomes a really good player the way Rich Gannon did. Rich Gannon became an MVP. That's elite. That's hard to do. Or you're going to have to go find another quarterback next year. Put pressure on these quarterbacks to make plays. I sense that today from Antonio Pierce. He wants to see these guys step up here a little bit more. And they're going to have to do that. Bear is in New Mexico on the Raiders mobile app. Hello, Bear.
Yes, sir. How you doing, JT?
Good, thank you.
I was just calling. This is Raider Nation from New Mexico. We're out here. We're just hungry to win. It doesn't matter what quarterback it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is no, distinction of one pulling away from the other, I think we go with the quarterback that has the more mobility and the escape factor, which is Minshew.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would give us a better chance to win with our line, not being totally solidified. Mm-hmm. But that's just our opinion out here.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Well, that's a good opinion to have. I mean, look, if Jackson Powers Johnson is not ready to go sooner than later, I have no idea when he's going to be ready to go. No idea. Maybe they talked about it today. Matter of fact, Bobby, 63 on the list here at the bottom. Let's see. I heard a little bit of Antonio Pierce today. We had a meeting. But listen to this real quick on the update with the offensive linemen who are out.
Any update on Jackson Powers Johnson or Colton Miller?
No, status quo. Status quo.
Nope, status quo. All right. Or status quo, Jackson Powers Johnson has not been available for a snap. Good kid. Can recite the autumn wind blindfolded. Good kid. Love him. Need him out there. Is he losing out on an opportunity to start this year? I would assume if he doesn't get out there sooner than later, but I don't know that. So I don't have a lot of information from the medical tent. And I'm hearing that everything's fine with Colton Miller. They just have him on a plan. to come back here and get it done. 702-365-9200 as we continue on, as we get going. All right, and when we come back, hey, I got to tease our second greatest Raider game of all time that's coming up. Hey, I want to tell you about our friends at Remy Martin. Remy Martin tells me about a whole bunch of different product lines they have all the time. My buddy Tori was in studio, and he showed me a bottle that we both tasted in studio. Navy Strength, baby. You want to talk about a rum? Navy Strength? I'm loving it. Now, you got to be careful. No drinking and driving, as you know. But the autumn wind is a Raider, pillaging just for fun while drinking Mount Gay Navy Strength rum.
It's the morning tailgate. Mark McMillan, as a former player, once those pads come on, are you just going at it?
Oh, you definitely hold on to it. You know when you get beat in training camp. I think the defense has been very dominant at times.
Or whatever.
The defense
Okay, I'll put that coming back.
Offense get to prove to themselves that, hey, we about to punch you guys in the mouth and we can run it down your throat. So it'll be very interesting to see how it goes in the trenches.
97 people in the YouTube today. That's a record for us. Thank you.
920 AM.
Yep.
When it comes to trucks, Chevy's reputation is legendary, led by the powerful Silverado. Choose from 9 trims and 4 durable engines, including the TurboMax, to find the perfect blend of capability and efficiency that's right for you. Plus, from hitching to driving to parking, its advanced camera tech will make your most difficult towing jobs a whole lot easier and your confidence even stronger. Chevy Silverado, ready to tackle whatever adventure comes next. See your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers.
This is JT for Grimaldi's, New York-style coal-fired brick oven pizza that you crave. 4 locations here in the Valley, Summerlin, in Boca Park, on the Strip, at the Palazzo, Southwest Las Vegas on South Rainbow Boulevard, and Green Valley on Southeastern Avenue.
This is Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM, the home of Raider Nation.
This is JT for the Black Hole, home of football's most notorious fans. If you're a diehard Raider fan, this is your home. Become a member today and receive 20% off online purchases, hotel discounts for home and away games, access to members-only merchandise, and much more. All memberships are now lifetime memberships. Once a member, always a member. If you bleed silver and black, visit theblackhole.com today. That's theblackhole.com.
I'm Justin Watkins with Battleborn Injury Lawyers, and I have to laugh when I hear all the attorneys out there falling all over themselves to tell you who's bigger, who's better, or who's richer. It's funny because the American Bar Association found the most common complaints of lawyers is neglect and lack of communication. It's about customer service. At Battleborn, we pride ourselves on how we treat our clients, and our clients seem to really appreciate it. Check out our Google reviews or call 766-1400 for a free consultation. At Battleborn, your battle is our fight.
Terribles is offering a gas discount of, check this, 40 cents per gallon with the purchase of a car wash at over 80 locations. That's right. Get 40 cents off per gallon of any fuel grade, including diesel, when you purchase a car wash in store or at the pump. That way you can fill up and keep shining. Offer valid at participating locations. Visit Terribles.com to find a location near you. Terribles. Deliberately different since 1959.
Lynn loves the spring in Vegas, but she hates the paint, so she called Rhino Shield.
It is a single wide manufactured home. We moved from our stucco home, which we had the Rhino Shield on.
Can someone explain to me what's going on with the Raiders app? I just put it on and it's fine. I mean, it's perfect. Why is anybody having a problem with the Raiders mobile app? Is it's cutting out on you because you don't have good coverage? Is it not reliable? I mean, every time I click on the Raiders mobile app, it's perfect. I don't click it on as much as people who listen because I'm talking. But what are the specifics here with this Raiders mobile app? I don't know what to tell you. We have cleaned up the YouTube, I think, a little bit better. Everything, except for a couple people who bitch and moan when we're in Costa Mesa and we have spotty service. And when you have a microphone that picks up ulterior sound like lawnmowers and women talking in the background, you know, I can't fix that for you, everybody.
All right. Devontae Adams. We got about 8 minutes, 9 minutes.
So gaming Red, you say the radio app will just stop streaming. How often does that happen where it just stops streaming? Does it happen every show? Does it happen every 10 minutes? Fabian has no problem with it. Adam says every time. Every time it cuts out? All right, then you got to get in touch with the Raiders, man.
Here we go.
By the way, I'm hearing this. I'm hearing what you're playing in Q.
You have the phone?
I'm hearing what you're playing in Q.
I know.
Competition out there between Gardner Minshew and O'Connell. What have you seen from each of the men?
Well, they both come out here and had a good start to the game. Both guys are definitely putting their best foot forward. It's a hell of a competition. I think they're more battling with one another or with themselves versus one another. And you can see them continue to get better and grow at, all the things that they're struggling with or, continuing to improve on things that they've done well. So, it's still kind of up for grabs right now as far as, what I see. I don't know if anyone's completely run off with it, but, they're both doing the best job they can to come out here and make plays and make this offense as efficient as possible.
Devontae Adams on a podcast. I can't keep up with it. Hopefully we'll get Devontae at some point. JT, back with you. Do me a favor, subscribe to what is our podcast and our live YouTube stream. YouTube, JT the Brick YT. It should have been JT the Brick LV, but that was gone. YT's for YouTube. So we're trying to get to a certain number here by the start of the regular season. Help us get there. Just subscribe. It's free on YouTube where everybody seems to be. JT the Brick YT. As we continue on. Our second greatest Raider game of all time, I'll lead with that at the top of the hour. It's Super Bowl 11. It's the Stabler, Fred Biletnikoff MVP Super Bowl. You can put that 1, you can put it 2, 3. We put it number 2. So if you're at that Super Bowl, you remember it, you understand it. Everybody get on it, get into calling on that. That is our number 2 Raiders game of all time. Is it the number 2 greatest game of all time? It's kind of a blowout. Was it the most significant game of all time? Arguably, yes. There are a lot of things to talk about when you talk about greatest blank of all time there. You could look at it a bunch of different ways, but we're going to have an opportunity for some youngsters who don't know anything about Super Bowl 11 to talk about it. Next hour on the show, Harry Ruiz in for me Friday. Thanks for him for sitting in. Yeah, we're traveling to Minnesota, getting on an airplane, going to Minnesota for the game. So Harry Ruiz will be in on Friday. We appreciate that. 702-365-9200 if you want to get in. All right, let's listen to the soundbite because everybody's talking about it in Raider Nation. I didn't see it live because I don't watch live, but this from the Colin Cowherd show. Okay, everybody, let's listen to this.
And again, the Raiders could be the worst team in the league. I just cannot see this team going 5-12. I can see them going 7-10. I can see them not going 500, but the bar is so low. 5.5. The defense, by the way, they paid attention to that as much as they could in the draft. I think they're a 7-8 win team. Raiders under 6.5. A mess at quarterback. They're the only team in the league that doesn't have their next quarterback. Aiden O'Connell can't move. He's a pocket guy. Antonio Pierce got the job because in interim position, the team played really hard, but the defense could regress. They're incredibly dependent on Max Crosby, who's amazing, but they need help. I just don't think it's a very good football team. I think as Harbaugh, look at the division. Andy Reid twice, Sean Payton twice, Jim Harbaugh twice. Antonio Pierce never been a head coach. I think they're a 5 or a 6 win team. I'll take the under 6.5 Raiders.
I got under as well. I wonder, is Crosby and Devontae Adams on this team in December, or do they get shipped at the deadline? This team's awful. This team has no identity. I don't even know who the face of the team is. They're just not good. I think the Raiders are a disaster. I'm with you. Under 6.5.
Wow, we agree on both. My next over.
Okay, a couple things. You got to be a stupid idiot not to know who the faces are of the Raiders. They're both getting gold jackets and going to the Hall of Fame already. In their prime, Devontae Adams and Mad Max Crosby. Imagine being that ignorant to say that. To say something as stupid as the defense could regress. The defense got better with Christian Wilkins. That is a prime example of a show, and 2 people combined with the help of 19 producers who probably don't even know Christian Wilkins is on the team. When you say the defense is going to regress, you don't know Christian Wilkins, you don't know Malcolm Kuntz, period. And the addition of Jack Jones, which got better last year, and the defense has been ascending and got better. So that is personal vitriol, Raider hatred. Now, in part of that soundbite, there was a comment about Denver being over 5.5 because they have the Raiders on the schedule. Those guys don't even know that the Raiders, and I swear on my kids' 401ks that are probably bigger than both of those combined, that when you look at what the Raiders beat Denver 8 in a row, they don't know that. They would guess maybe 2 in a row. Maybe they guess 3, but they wouldn't know 8 in a row. So all of that combined is some of the most ignorant comments I've ever heard. Now, there's a chance they could be right. If the Raiders win 5-6 games, you know where to find me. Because I actually show up in public and go to sporting events and games and this and that and fights in Vegas and this and that. So you know where to find me. But can you believe that? So that is personal Raider hatred. It's not being on top of being ignorant and not knowing what you're talking about in clickbait. I clicked on it because you told me to click on it and listen to it. All of that combined is exactly what I'm talking about. I don't predict games for a living. Okay, I wouldn't sit here on the flagship of the Raiders and predict they'd win 4 or 5 games. For that show to do that, I respect everyone's opinion. If they think the Raiders are going to win 4 or 5 games, great. Live with that. They might be right. But don't say that they don't have an identity. They have Max Crosby and Devontae Adams. They said the quarterbacks are terrible. They said the team's terrible. They won 8 games. They beat Denver 8 times. The Chargers only won 5 games. That is one of the best examples I've ever seen in my career covering the Raiders of 2 guys who literally just wanted to throw flames at the Raiders, and they can. They got a big platform, bigger than this, but they just threw out the garbage there, and they really don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. But I got to give them credit. They went after it. They got me to talk about it. I don't talk about that show or other shows much. I'm more cryptic, admittingly so, when I hear stupidity, and I've heard a lot over the years. But what a slap in the face for everybody in Raider Nation. Not picking the Raiders to go under 6.5 and winning 5 games. I can live with that. But saying they don't have an identity, their defense, he actually said the defense is regressing or the defense is a problem. They don't have anyone other than Max Crosby. Because if you don't know Malcolm Kuntz and you don't know the interior tackles, you can't name 3 out of the 4 corners, and you have no idea who Marcus Epps and Trayvon Merrick are. You couldn't point them out if they came into your studio with a basket of fruit. That's why you're going to get people doing that. That is just, as Adam Sweeney says on YouTube, that is just pure hate. No mention in that bit I just played. That was a bit, by the way. No mention that the Raiders put up 63 on the Chargers. 63? No mention. Can't even get the good things in there. Just trash the Raiders. Amazing. We'll see. In a long time. I hope I'm right and they're wrong, or I'm going to have my show's going to turn into a national show. And I want it to be a Raiders show for just 2 hours a day on top of all the other things I do. That was one hell of a first hour, and you had most to do with it. We are brought to you by the M Resort Spa and Casino. They are the official hotel of the Silver and Black, and their concerts out at the pool are off the chart. Go check out M.
It'll be sleepless in Seattle with 2 games from the Pacific Northwest as the Mets take on the Mariners Saturday at 6 and Sunday at 4 on ESPN.
Wasn't that an example of pure hate right there, man?
What's your name? What's your name?
Gambler's bonus hits again. On May 24th, Johnny hit 4 6s, clearing his Gambler's bonus four-of-a-kind bingo card for almost $15,000. Johnny hit big, and so can you. With Gambler's bonus, it's why you play the game.
He's not going to make it. Hey, I need everybody to hit like, please. I got 103 people in here. You all at once hit like. Hit the like, will you? their craveable cane sauce, the best sauce. When life speeds up, order online at raisincanes.com or through their mobile app. Raisin Canes as your after-school destination. Raisin Canes chicken fingers, one love.
The place for all your Raiders coverage is right here on Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM.
There we go. Get those likes up, man. Yeah, I'm not here to say Colin's a douchebag. He's got a really successful show. Very good show. I think a lot of depth, but a lot of mistakes are made. And the Raiders stuff is just, I would say the same thing if Dan Patrick, Rich Eisen, or anybody said anything about like that. That was just total just Raider propaganda garbage. I think last year that show predicted one of them predicted the Raiders going to the AFC, Denver or Chargers, not only going to the playoffs but going to the AFC, deep in the AFC playoffs. Come on.
Suffer with allergies, it's essential to have your air ducts clean as well, because they're a collection zone for bacteria, viruses, dust, and mites, all the other contaminants that trigger your respiratory and allergy issues. Zero Res knows this. Zero Res has the answer. It's the revolutionary new intensive air duct cleaning process. It's a breakthrough technology for duct cleaning. It helps immediately with your indoor allergies, while at the same time, it keeps your HVAC system running efficiently and extends the life of your system, saving you costly repairs.
All right, we're going to get into Super Bowl 11. If you have an opinion on Super Bowl 11, here's the time to do it. Find my sound bites for Super Bowl 11.
Just so I know, you're at Costa Mesa tomorrow.
Tomorrow and Wednesday. Back here Thursday. Yeah, then Friday we fly out.
We're doing number 2 now, and we got that good stuff.
Yep. My son said, tell everybody to subscribe. We need to get to 4,000 YouTube subscribers today. So send that out there. There's a new way to get to the game, M-Ride it. M-Ride is the luxury concierge shuttle service. It's the same bus the players use, so you can ride like a pro. M-Ride will take you round trip from Circle of the Palms to Allegiant Stadium or T-Mobile Arena. No more hassle parking, sitting in traffic, or waiting in long. You get a chance. I just sent you all our live reads for the month. Just print it for me. I'll take it at the end. Julie, we're going to put together a file that's going to be here. It's not going to leave here. MRideLV.com, promo code BRICK.
Don't miss the Rich Eisen Show following the morning tailgate. Weekday mornings at 10 here on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KRLV Las Vegas.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
It's time for JT the Brick.
Let's go. Let's pick up the pace. There are high expectations for this team. The Raiders have an established offensive line. You might not love it, but Colt Miller, Dylan Parham, Andre James, we got some big dudes today. Who's going to start that first game? Aiden O'Connell 1. Gardner Minshew 2. I want the ball out. I want the ball out quickly. I want slants. Will the ball get out? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi out.
JT the Brick.
And in the last regime, we took too much time in between plays for no apparent reason. We got to get Brock Bowers the ball all the time. He is a gift from the sports gods handed to us in Vegas. If Bowers comes in with 73 receptions and 11 touchdowns or 9 touchdowns, then it changes everything. If I'm wrong, you know where to find me.
And now, get him the ball. Here's JT the Brick.
All right, JT, back with you. Quick announcement here. VSiN, that's based here. That's the Sports Gaming Network here. Our good friend Brent Musburger bought it back. How about that deal? Woo! How about that deal? Sell it, buy it back. The Godfather, and they just named today award-winning sports programmer Steve Cohen their EVP of talent and programming. I want to give a shout out to Steve Cohen, who hired me at Mad Dog Sports Radio, has been a mentor of mine, a friend of mine. And that's a big deal. He's an elite programmer and really sharp guy, diehard Raider fan, and a good guy. One of the people in radio I'm happy to call friend. Because, Bobby, you can't be friends with everybody in radio. I mean, what's a friend? I have real friends, like guys I went to first grade with. Those are my friends. Right. You can't categorize them with the radio guys. Not all of them down the hall. But this guy's a friend in real life, and I'm really happy for Steve Cohen. So, and then we carry their programming at night and overnight here into Paulie and Mitch in the morning. So that's a nice move there. So I just played you that soundbite of the Herd, Colin Cowherd show, just trashing the Raiders, saying they're potentially the worst team in football. Well, they're second in the AFC West last year and before. And they knocked the Chargers out of the playoffs the year before that. And they've won 8 in a row against Denver. So you got to take it personally. Unless you can tell me why the Chargers are going to be better than the Raiders and Denver is going to be better than the Raiders, you really can't use that and have that argument. You can think the Raiders stink and they're only going to win 4 games. I don't have a problem with that. There are more people out there saying the Raiders are a 5 or 6 win team than the Raiders are 11, 12 win team. I know that. But you just can't make it that personal in Raider Nation. You can't. And, there's a lot of waiters out there and servers and cocktail servers and, people that drive Ubers and, are in the real world who are Raider fans. You just can't tell them that they suck when they've beaten Denver 8 in a row and Denver got rid of Jerry Jeudy and everybody else. Yeah. They got Bo Nix. Okay. Well, are our quarterbacks that bad? No. I don't think they're bad. Gardner Minshew, everybody around the league would say he's a pretty good player. They're not comparing him to Patrick Mahomes or even Justin Herbert. He's a good player. Can he beat anybody in this league? Absolutely. Gardner Minshew could beat Lamar Jackson. He could beat Mahomes if he has a good game, doesn't turn it over, and plays really high-level football, and the defense carries the team and plays well. But you're not going to hear that other than anybody else who's pro-Raiders. I'm pro-Raiders. I will never apologize for that. Someday I won't be here. No matter where it is, it could be whatever that number is. I will walk away with my head up knowing I've always protected the Raider Nation on the radio. That's it. Put that on my brick. I have an actual brick walking that in. Just has my name, JT the Brick. And it should say underneath that, always protecting the Raider Nation on radio. Matter of fact, I want that new brick. Take the other one out. It says JT the Brick. Everyone knows it's a brick. It's right there in front of, right there. I meet everybody at the brick. Protector of the Raider Nation on radio. Nonsense. Raiders are the worst team in football? Worse than Carolina?
Washington?
Worse than Washington? Really? Okay. Clicks. Works out that way. All right, here we go. We are down to the number 2 greatest Raider game of all time. Let's get to it.
We now present the Raiders' top 10 games of all time.
And the Raiders have won the Super Bowl championship. They are the world champs.
The history of the Raiders.
Fires for Bolitnikov. He is going to get inside the 5. Touchdown.
The games that helped make the Raiders one of the most recognized franchises in NFL history.
Just win, baby.
The Raiders' top 10 games of all time begins now. Number 2.
All right, here we go. Number 2, January 9th, 1977. The Raiders' first Super Bowl win, Super Bowl 11. The 1976 Raiders advanced to Super Bowl 11 with a 13-1 regular season record and a 2-0 mark in the playoffs, upending the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC Championship for the first time in 3 tries. Those are 3 Super Bowls the Raiders could have had that the Steelers had. I want to stop there for a second. It's a big point. We're in the mid-70s. Now we're into 76, into the early part of 77. Remember that number. Big deal. And that was the Sugar Bear Hamilton game against the Patriots in the divisional playoff, where if Sugar Bear Hamilton doesn't hit Stabler late, the Raiders lose that game, and this game gets wiped out. Yeah. It never exists. Wow, what a game that was. So the Vikings, the NFC champions, You know how many fans were at the Rose Bowl for that game? 103,424. The silver and black put forth a dominant effort on both the offense and the defense in posting a 32-14 victory and capturing the club's first ever Super Bowl championship. Oakland built a 16-0 first half lead as Dave Casper and Pete Banaszak, the Rooster, each scored short touchdowns after receptions by Fred Biletnikoff brought the Raiders to the goal line on 2 separate drives. Let me stop. Fred Biletnikoff, the first Hall of Fame MVP of a Super Bowl who did not score a touchdown. He had 2 monster receptions that got it to the goal line for some easy scores. Freddie B did a lot of work on those drives. An additional short yardage touchdown by Banaszak in the second half put the Raiders up 26-7, set the stage for the significant signature moment of the contest with Fran Tarkenton under heavy pressure in the fourth quarter. Veteran Willie Brown intercepted a pass and returned it 75 yards for a touchdown to seal the victory. The Vikings could only muster 2 second-half touchdowns as the Silver and Black put together a dominant defensive performance, limiting Chuck Foreman to just 44 yards rushing and intercepting Fran Tarkenton twice, future Hall of Famer. Biletnikoff, 79 yards on 4 receptions, 3 of which set up Raider touchdowns, earned him MVP honors, with Clarence Davis helped with a pace of 137 rushing yards on only 16 carries. A starting 12 Raiders from Super Bowl 11 would go on to enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The most recent Cliff Branch, who never should have had to wait that long. 12 members of this team are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, with owner Al Davis joining head coach John Madden, Biletnikoff, Brown, Ted Hendricks, Ray Guy, Ken Stabler, Gene Upshaw, Art Shell, Casper, assistant coach at the time, Tom Flores, as I mentioned, the great Clifford Branch. Wow. Super Bowl 11, sun-drenched skies of Pasadena at the Rose Bowl as the Raiders early on a fumble recovery gets them going early.
Back up in the middle, nothing. Fumble there and a loose ball. Oakland recovered and the Vikings lost their chance. The Raiders recovered as Willie Hall, and he's another opportunist. He's been intercepting and recovering fumbles all year long.
What a story on him, Kurt. You were talking about it earlier. He was a truck driver before this season started. He was cut by a couple of teams. Let's see if he can pick it up. McClellan goes into the middle. Let's see if he did have it. That's Filippiano that comes in from the outside, hits him right where he's carrying that ball. Who covered it? Willie Hall, you're right. There he is, 39, jumps in there and he says, it's my ball.
Phil Filippiano with the hit. Now, if they would have scored on that opening drive, could have changed the whole game. If the Raiders were the better team, they would have won. But the great hit by Phil Filippiano is one of the great hits, clutch hits in Raider history by a linebacker. Right there. Turned Super Bowl 11 around early in the game. Here's the snake finding the ghost, Dave Casper.
They've had 9 plays on this drive. They started on their own 36-yard line.
He's got him. Wow, look out.
Casper touchdown. That's their favorite play. They pulled it repeatedly during the year with a tight end going wide open, and the Raiders marched 64 yards for a score with ease.
Good play action in the middle, Kurt. That ball, it looked like a running play in there. Casper has a delayed block at the line of scrimmage, hits his man, usually a linebacker, comes out to the outside. Nobody was there. They held him in the middle with a good play fake.
Kurt Gowdy and Don Meredith. Now, I want to stop and save that soundbite for the future that's so relevant today. Fred Biletnikoff told me several times over a cocktail that the Raiders had a signature play. And as my jaw would drop and I'd go, what was it? Casper. It wasn't Biletnikoff. It wasn't Branch. It wasn't Banaszak. It was that play. Goal line, play action, Casper blocking, releasing, nobody there. They did not run that play all the time. You know what Freddie told me? They ran it when they needed to. Let me stop the show and say to Luke Getzey, Michael Mayer, and Brock Bowers, you have got to have a play like that. It's your job, it's your requirement to have a play that I just played on the flagship of the Raiders, Dave Casper, the go-to, set the block, release, ghost, open in the end zone, no one near him, because the play action worked. So how about this as I prepare to do play-by-play Saturday night? Aiden O'Connell under center. Play action to Zeus up the middle. No, he holds it back, releases, throws it to Michael Mayer, wide open, touchdown. Las Vegas Raiders. Have your signature play. That's the example of it there. One of the great friends that I got to meet and become really good friends with, visiting him in Florida throughout his adult life and my life, the great Pete Banaszak, making it 16-0.
On the 1 foot line. There you go. Banaszak scores.
Oh, this thing could be getting awful close to a runaway. These Vikings have got to come on with something, offense or defense. Take your pick. Kenny says it's going okay. It's all right. Going about right.
Dandy Don, how great is this play-by-play? Rooster Banaszak wasn't done for the day. This was eventually the dagger.
First down, goal to go for the Raiders. Pete Banaszak. Banaszak's in. Touchdown. The veteran has 2 touchdowns. There goes the ball up in the stands. He'll be fine. He doesn't care. He gets more money, they'll fine him.
All right.
$15,000 if they hold on to their win. So the Raiders score again. Their first touchdown of the second half.
The only thing that's different is they went over the right instead of the left, but they did pull out George Miller, the right guard, to lead that play. They sent in Lawrence, as you talked about earlier, the reserve tackle. He was in there in that time. Nobody was there. Page tried to do it, couldn't get there quick enough. There you go. There's $200.
George Beeler and Henry Lawrence involved in the Dandy Don analysis of that play. But the signature play, Biletnikoff won the MVP, but the play that most people remember going down in Raider history, this is on the Mount Rushmore.
There's another little quick flip. Look out.
There
he goes. Goodbye.
Handoff. Willie Brown on
Goodbye.
his way. Willie Brown, the veteran. He waited for that one. 14 years Willie's waited, and he scored a Super Bowl touchdown. Look at the Raiders come on the field. The whole squad is going over there.
Well, they love Willie. He's been there for a long time.
Look at him mobbing.
You're right. He's set back. They were waiting for that little deke out to the outside, trying to look at that guy. Willie Brown.
He's a defensive captain, all-pro many times. He has been better this year than he's been the last 2 or 3 years. And 14 years, watch him grab this one.
Well, it was almost picked off by Hendricks before he got out to Brown. He was trying to hit Semi White on a little quick square out. There's nothing to it. No foot race there. There's Fran made a little move after him.
Willie Brown has scored a 75-yard touchdown. Bud Grant doesn't change much his record.
Yeah, Bud Grant just got rolled in that game. Old man Willie with the touchdown. We'll get the Bill King version of that, too. We probably have it here in the archives, but you're hearing all this sound. These were the NBC television calls. Final call as the Raiders finally break through. By this point, they could have had 2 or 3 Super Bowls already. Not exaggerating. Should have had multiple ones. This was the first.
There it is.
Where to count down?
Counting down is right. There he is.
That's a job. That's the toughest job Oakland's had today. Lifting John Madden up. They got him up there. 250 pounds. Off they go. And the Raiders have won the Super Bowl championship. They are the world champs. And they did it most decisively and very impressively with a final score. Oakland 32 and Minnesota 14.
There it is, Super Bowl 11. We rank that as the second greatest game in Raiders history. If you want to chime in on that one, 702-365-9200 is the number. You should all have an opinion on that game. If you don't, and you have a phone, I'd be shocked. That's a big one. Where do you put that? All time, easily could have been number one. Could have been number one. We had Super Bowl 15 at number 3, Super Bowl 11 at number 2. Figure it out. After the game, Stabler and Madden on carrying Madden off the field.
Really happy for everybody around you. Happy for John.
John, how's it feel? Great. It's waited a long time for it.
John was not the smallest coach in the league. John's kind of a big guy, and carrying him off the field was kind of a task, even for our biggest guys.
There's the gun, sounding the end of the game. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
Such a great sight to see him smile that way.
John Madden's grin is from ear to ear. He looks like a slick watermelon.
Well, it
was surprised they could get me up. And the guys were carrying me, they tripped over a photographer. Then it was just like an avalanche. We all fell down, which was kind of fitting. You carry the coach off and you drop him. And that was kind of the way I was and the way the Raiders were in those days.
How great is that? So John Madden getting lifted up off the field. Remember that iconic view again, 103,000 fans at the time, and Madden on winning his first Super Bowl as the head coach of the Silver and Black.
No one can ever take it away from me. In 1976, we won this ring, and it's always ours. But bigger than the ring is the memories. You look at it and you remember all those players. And not only the big stars, but you remember them all, how they sacrificed. You remember what they did. You earned it, and you earned it by playing hard, and you earned it by winning. You earned it by being a champion.
Love it. Just love everything about that segment we just did. Let's save that for a best of. And you like the best of around here a little bit? I'll save that one. And we got some good calls backing it up. So again, this is subjective to what you think are the bigger games or not. We tried to give you a lot of honorable mentions. We tried to get you in there with certain games, certain teams that we thought deserved this type of credit. And Super Bowl 11, 12 Hall of Famers total. Incredible. And there should be more coming down the road again. As he always does after these great games and sound bites, here's Raiders 66.
Hey, JT, good afternoon. I got chills and near tears in my eyes just listening to that sound. And I can't wait for the Bill King, Willie Brown call. But, yeah, maybe you should title your list the Raiders' most important games, because all of these games you had Al Davis's first win, Mrs. Davis with the torch, and all these games, they're very important games in the list. And the great games sometimes, like myself, think of back and forth dramatic, but these were very important games for the Raiders. And Super Bowl 11 was a big deal. It was the game between two teams that couldn't win the big one. The Vikings and the Raiders, they were both highly successful. They were like the two winningest teams in that time. The Vikings, this is Super Bowl 11. The Vikings were in their fourth Super Bowl, 4 out of 11. Can you imagine that? The Raiders were either in or one step away from 4 of the first 5 and 8 of the first 11 Super Bowls. Just let that sink in. They were one step away from being in 8 of the first 11. And everybody they lost to, except the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Immaculate Deception, every other team won the Super Bowl, and it wasn't really close. They could have just been so dominant. But this was a game, like I said, between two teams that couldn't win the big one. John Madden was in his 8th year as head coach. The Raiders had a over 77% winning percentage. The only team better was the Vikings with Bud Grant, 78.1% winning percentage. These two teams were the pinnacle. And how ironic that Minnesota and the Raiders were linked in this one, because Minnesota was the 8th original AFL franchise, and they defected to the NFL. The replacement was Oakland, the Raiders. So these were basically the same team, kind of, playing against each other. And there were a lot of firsts in this game. The January 9th is the earliest Super Bowl that's ever been played. And the reason was, you got to go back to the 72 double overtime game between the Dolphins and Chiefs on Christmas Day, because this season started 1 week earlier than normal because they didn't want to have a playoff game on Christmas. And if they had played it normally, the division round would have been played on Christmas Day. So they started early. They got an early Super Bowl. It was the last one to be played to finish in daylight. But I tell you, this game just brings up so many memories, and I'm just kind of beside myself. But yeah, the Raiders in that game were so dominant that their 266 yards rushing has only been surpassed twice. The Washington team did it 2 different times. Other than that, they have the most rushing yards still. We're going into Super Bowl, 59? And they still have the number 3 offense there rushing wise. And that play that you want to save for Casper, I've been telling my friends about that every year. I go, why don't the Raiders just play fake and throw to the tight end like the Stabler used to do to Casper? And if you remember, one of your games in this round was goes to the post. That double overtime finish was the same thing. Play action, fake up the middle, ghost on a short little 8 to 10 yard touchdown, and the game was over. Fred Biletnikoff is absolutely right. It was their signature play. They used it when they need it, and it's time for AP and those guys to get the same thing in their head. Thank you so much for the time, JP. I love it. Can't wait for number one. I know what it is.
Yep, it is. It's coming tomorrow as we'll wrap it up from Costa Mesa on the greatest Raider games of all time. If Raider 66 can put together a phone call, you don't have to go that deep. You should be able to do it too. 702-365-9200. And an important game for a lot of reasons is 66 just told us 8 of the first 11 Super Bowls the Raiders were involved with in some playoff capacity, losing Super Bowl II. Remember, Fred Biletnikoff was on the Super Bowl II team. Fred Biletnikoff. He won the MVP of Super Bowl 11. And all the other games that Freddie played from Super Bowl II. Just off the top of my head, the Jets winning Super Bowl III. The Raiders were better than the Jets. Jets beat them, fair and square. They went on to win the Super Bowl. Not saying the Raiders would have beat the Colts in the Super Bowl, but the Jets did. The one that bothers me the most is Len Dawson, Super Bowl IV. The Raiders beat the Chiefs twice that year, swept the Chiefs, and look at what happened there. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Steelers, their dynasty. The 72 Dolphins, give them that credit, greatest team of all time. Look at the games that I'm mentioning along the way. Those are all games that the Raiders could have won the Super Bowl or been in the Super Bowl, and they lost most of them in dramatic fashion. So for Madden to win that game and survive the playoffs and get there, and they beat the Steelers to erase the Steelers to get to the Super Bowl. But remember, it was that Sugar Bear Hamilton game that we put in our honorable mentions, which I could have put in. We don't have Super Bowl 11 if we don't beat the Patriots at home in a game where the Patriots had the lead, and there was a late hit call on Ken Stabler that gave the Raiders a new set of downs and won. What happens if Sugar Bear Hamilton doesn't get the Stabler and Stabler doesn't get the late hit? What happens? There's no Super Bowl 11. Man, so much going on here. And Pete Banaszak, real quick story. So Pete ended up moving to Jacksonville at one point. And Pete got there and he was the analyst on the Jaguars radio network. So, you know, I knew Pete, but I didn't know him well from these alumni events. So my mother-in-law and father-in-law live in St. Augustine, and that's where Pete lived. So I reached out to Pete, and for over 4 or 5 years, my sons would come down. We'd go to Bill Murray's Caddy Shack. We'd have lunch. Pete and I would play golf together. And then afterwards, we'd go and have a couple beers. And that's Pete Banaszak, who scored 2 touchdowns in that game on the ground. I mean, I am lucky. I am blessed to call a lot of these guys friends, and they had a big impact on my life. Really enjoyed that game. 702-365-9200. So we're playing some sound bites of Raider disrespect on what happened on the Colin Cowherd show. I think that was Thursday. Didn't get around to playing it today. And the big topic today is about the quarterbacks. And I'm looking at the feeds today of all of our insiders, Vic Tafer, Paul Gutierrez, Vinny Bonsignor. And as we're seeing practice today, they had a scrimmage. It looks like Minshew took the lead. Looked like he took the lead. But today there was some good catches by Tucker. This is from Vic Tafer an hour ago. Wilkerson with a nice sideline catch in traffic. Trey Tucker snags the pass running to the sideline and gets feet in. Wide receiver coach Edgar Bennett and sideline really fired up after both. Vic Tafer, both passes from Aiden O'Connell. Minshew had a better second half of practice and scrambled for at least 3 first downs. Practice ends with a quarterback sneak touchdown. So that's what we're seeing here, and we're going to see what happens along the way. And receiver Jeff Foreman went down with a leg injury, carted off the field. Vic Tafer, an hour ago, it's a knee injury, and it's being evaluated. So he went down with a leg injury here. We hope he's okay. Vic Tafer, an hour ago. Jack Jones showing up the feet again. The benefit of having him do kickoffs is he gets a running start on making the tackle. So every day I'm leaning on these guys, including Q Myers, who's coming up next, to see what their eyes see at practice. Let's wake up the phones, man. It's the second greatest Raider game of all time. I'm a flagship radio host in the middle of the day all over the country, evening drive in New York and on the East Coast. Where does Super Bowl II rank in your list of the greatest games of all time? I had it at 2. Could be critical of that or not. Love to hear what you have to say. Want to thank Alex and Orlando de Castaverde for putting us in Costa Mesa, the legacy of their proud father who built the law firm, and these two gentlemen and their incredible staff and attorneys who work hard for you. If you get into an accident or injured, the brothers win. The brothers have your back.
Previously on Unnecessary Roughness.
Goodbye, YouTubers. Goodbye.
Right,
Fabulous day
today.
today. Nice numbers today, man.
This could
It's not Pat McAfee numbers, but we'll get there, man. I'm optimistic. Remember when we started off with 3 or 4 people here? Now we had 103 today.
From November
All because of you. Thanks a lot. Spread the
I'll
word.
tell you right now, for being out here on the grass with this team each and every day, they have